News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions. Rahul Gandhi dropped his atom bomb yesterday. His evidence that there is large-scale voter rigging in voter rolls alleged by him to be done at the behest of the Election Commission of India itself to benefit the BJP. Today, he held the Vote Adhikar rally in Bengaluru, reiterating his voter fraud allegations against the poll panel. Now, several people, including the BJP of course, have come out to poke holes in Rahul's theory. While some cases referred to by him have been found to be misleading, others' constituencies' data has also been quoted to show that the result either in Maharashtra or in Karnataka is not out of the ordinary. The Election Commission on its own part has shot off letters seeking clarifications, demanding proof behind the claims. They say either furnish evidence and take it on oath or apologize to the country. Question is, will Rahul Gandhi put his money where his mouth is? Will he sign an oath or an affidavit to say he has presented this proof of alleged fraud? ECI claims that Rahul Gandhi is making public allegations, but the correspondence with them is being done via proxies or lawyers. Also, the question is, do Congress findings actually prove any fraud? Or do they just make a stronger case for SIR and repeated such exercises in all states? We'll take that up with our guest joining us in just a bit. Let's take a quick check of what is lined up on the show. A fraud in actuality or mere conjectures? That's the first debate today on Plain Speak. Coming up after a short while is also the tariff war triggered by Trump's tantrums. Have they now jeopardized the India-US deal? Is it off the table? Also on the show, the situation remains grim in Uttarakhand. Rescuers are leaving no stone unturned. We'll get you the latest from on ground. First, let's break down if there's any merit to the charges that have been levelled by the Congress party. In the 72-minute news briefing held yesterday, he claimed that an internal survey was held in the assembly segment of Mahadevpura in Bengaluru Central Lok Sabha seat to discover these alleged irregularities in the voter rolls. The election was won by BJP candidate P.C. Mohan. He got nearly 6,57,000 votes and the victory margin was about 31,868 votes. In comparison, the Congress candidate Mansoor Ali Khan secured a little over 6,25,000 votes. Let's break down the numbers for you further, region-wise region, as far as this constituency is concerned. So, Sarvanyanagar, Congress secured nearly 1,40,000 votes, with the vote share being 67%. BJP secured 66,000 some votes, with a vote share of 31.74%. In Chamrajapet, Congress again was ahead with 87,000 plus votes, while the BJP won 44,000 plus votes. In Shantinagar, Congress 70,000 plus votes, BJP 49,000 plus votes. Shivajinagar, Congress won 70,000 plus votes and the BJP won 43,221 votes. In Rajajinagar Assembly segment though, it was the BJP that took the lead. They won 75,000 plus votes while the Congress secured 36,000 plus votes. Similarly, in Gandhinagar constituency as well, roughly short of 75,000 votes to the BJP, 51,000 plus to the Congress party, and C.V. Raman Nagar also, BJP secured the higher number of votes, 73,000 plus votes for the BJP candidate and 53,000 plus votes for the Congress candidates. The numbers debunk Rahul Gandhi's claim or Congress party's claims that Congress candidate had swept the elections in all other assembly segments but for the contentious Mahadevpura assembly constituency. Let me break down the numbers for that constituency as well. BJP candidate P.C. Mohan won a little over 2,29,000 votes as far as Mahadevpura is concerned. Congress candidate falling behind Mansoor Ali Khan, winning over a little over 1,15,000. The difference being 1,14,046 votes. Now, Rahul claims that 1 lakh plus fake voters were added in this assembly constituency, in this assembly segment, and that's what led to the BJP's eventual win. I've showed you the numbers of all other constituencies as well. Is that claim really adding up? But it's not just about Karnataka. In Maharashtra, the Congress MP had claimed that lakhs of fake voters were added between Lok Sabha and the state elections. The claim BJP called out in a news briefing earlier. Listen in.
2024 में महाराष्ट्र विधानसभा में वोटर थे 9,71,41,289। लोकसभा में थे 9,30,61,760। तो लोकसभा और विधानसभा के बीच में 40 लाख वोट बढ़े। राहुल गांधी 1 करोड़ बता रहे हैं, तो 60% का मार्जिन हो गया। तो क्या आगे से वो कुछ भी चीज बोले तो उसको 60% माइनस करके समझा जाए? सीट नंबर 57 नागपुर नॉर्थ, वोट बढ़े 23,421। जीतने का मार्जिन क्या रहा? 28,467। और कौन जीते? डॉक्टर नितिन किशननाथ राउत कांग्रेस के। तो ये जो राहुल गांधी की जो थ्योरी है, ये अपने आप में ही रिजल्ट से खत्म हो जाती है। पहली बात तो थ्योरी की बुनियाद ही गलत है, क्योंकि डेटा ही गलत है, स्टार्टिंग डेटा ही गलत है, स्टार्टिंग भी गलत है और अंत तो विनाश पे ही है, झूठ पे ही है।
Well, the war of words continue, but the big questions that arise after Rahul Gandhi's claims about this particular constituency is this. Now, he says that their internal survey suggested something else, which is why they're raising eyebrows over the Karnataka or Maharashtra results. Can an internal survey not matching actual results be a case or a fit case to be considered for a fraud investigation? Does difference in fortunes in Lok Sabha and Assembly election be a case of fraud, as Congress is alleging? Can Congress party claim that added voters only voted for the BJP? There is no proof of that. Can Congress party claim that other constituencies don't have similar anomalies as far as their voter lists are concerned? And is the Congress party then effectively making a case for the special intensive review to take place in all states? Remember, this is all happening in the backdrop of the Bihar exercise that is already announced for Bengal next. So that's a big debate coming in. Rahul charges against the EC, the latter dares the Congress party. Is fraud established? That's the big question. Joining us with our guests.
हमने पता लगाया तो पता लगा कि 1 करोड़ नए वोटरों ने वोट किया विधानसभा में। 1 करोड़ नए लोग जिन्होंने लोकसभा में अपना वोट नहीं डाला था, जादू से ये विधानसभा में वोट डालने निकल आए। और जहां भी ये नए वोटर आए, वहां पर बीजेपी चुनाव जीती।
आप इन्वेस्टिगेट कर क्यों नहीं रहे हैं? उसके बजाय आप कह रहे हैं कि एफिडेविट साइन करके दो। देखो, आगे जैसे बढ़ेंगे वो इंडिया गठबंधन के जो नेता हैं सब आपस में चर्चा करके वही तय करेंगे कि आगे कैसे बढ़ना है। लेकिन ये बात स्पष्ट है कि इस पूरे मामले में गड़बड़ है।
अभी ये चीजें लोगों के मन में थी। कल अगर आप देखो तो राहुल गांधी जी ने विद प्रूफ बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें बताई जो हुई है। अभी लोगों को लग रहा है कि हाँ, डेफिनेटली इलेक्शन कमीशन ये भाजपा का एक्सटेंडेड डिपार्टमेंट है।
लॉजिक क्या है? 23 in Karnataka, they won election. 24, we won more seats. Now he is telling electoral roll ठीक नहीं है। अरे भाई, 23 में कैसे जीत गया?
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Gopal Krishnan Agarwal is national spokesperson of the BJP. Sulaiman Mohammad Khan from the Congress party joining us. Ayush Nambiar is political analyst with me in the studio, and Sunny Dhiman is also a political analyst joining us on the show. Mohammed Sulaiman, I'll begin with you. The BJP says new voters have been added on many other constituencies in the 2 states that the Congress party has raised objections on, Maharashtra and Karnataka. Adding new voters in a constituency or even finding a few anomalies in the voter list in a constituency does not quite suggest fraud, and it also doesn't establish that the results have been affected because of it, because Congress has won several seats where closely, by close margin, where new voters have been added.
Shivani, I am not able to understand. Since yesterday, when Rahul ji has done his press conference and put the facts before the general public of the country, with all facts and figures, how actually embezzlement and chori of votes has been done, and it is under the aegis of the Election Commission, which is under the Constitution responsible for preparing the electoral rolls and for conducting the election for state assemblies, parliament, to president and vice president. Despite all the facts being put in public domain, what Election Commission is saying that Rahul Gandhi ji has to give an affidavit on oath and tell how many voters have been deleted or added who are fake. Who is Rahul Gandhi to do that? It's not Rahul Gandhi's job. Rahul Gandhi has put everything in public domain. The onus is on Election Commission of India. And if it's what Rahul Gandhi has shown publicly live, that these are 200 voters in a one-bedroom flat, it is for the Election Commission to reply, not Rahul Gandhi to reply. How come it has happened?
Okay.
Second point.
Can I take it point by point? Can I take it point by point? No, sir, I just want to take it point by point so that you get the answer to your question that you're raising, and our viewers also get the answer to the question that you're raising.
Madam, just 10 seconds.
Yes.
To your question, that adding or deletion of votes, generally adding of votes is a normal process. New voters get added, but they have to be verified. They are genuine voters, not fake voters. That is the question. How
Yes.
it has been done.
Yes, you're right about that. And that is precisely the question that, let's say, the EC or the BJP are asking is, how do you know that these are fake voters that have been added?
Is BJP the Election Commission spokesperson? Why
No,
is
they have
BJP
questioned, of course.
defending the Election Commission? The
No,
question
they are
is,
questioning it. One second. One by one. One second. Please don't speak over me. First of all.
I'm just asking a question. Are you the spokesperson of the Election Commission or the BJP is the spokesperson of the Election Commission?
No, one second. You've made a charge against both, right? Against the EC, and the extended charges. This is happening at the behest of the BJP. To make the BJP win, right?
No charge against you. No charge against the media that you have done any embezzlement or chori of votes.
That's not the point. You can make that charge against the media. It will be taken with the seriousness that it deserves. That's not my point. My point is the BJP is saying that there is no proof to say that these voters that have been added, first of all, are fake. And the EC
definitely says
one second, the EC is also saying that please establish which voters you are alleging are fake voters.
We are not going to establish that. We have shown it in the public. How to establish? Election Commission has to reply and come clean.
Okay, that's the point I wanted to take to the BJP. Sir, I please request you, please don't do this like this. I have given you your opportunity. Let me put my point across and let me go to the next guest possible. Yes, Gopal Krishna Agarwal, should it not be the responsibility of the EC now, even in the public domain, to say, okay, you've brought this case, you know, there is this address where 200 voters are registered. There are voter IDs which don't have any clear details. Should it not be the EC's job to at least come out in the public domain and say, okay, this is the reason why?
Shivani, that's what Election Commission is already taking action on. Why it is, you just tell me, why Election Commission is going for a massive SIR? That is the reason, because, and everybody knows that there are the difficulties in the voter list. It is not that today only Rahul Gandhi has found out. There are, for almost 70 years, there has been, there are voters who come to us that my name is not there, my name has this wrong spelling, my photograph is changed. These are the reasons. It's a continuous process of updating electoral rolls. Before every election, this is taken. And
no, but in Karnataka, Gopal Krishna Agarwal, in Karnataka, it has been found that the voter list on the basis of which votes were done in the 2024 Lok Sabha elections has so many anomalies. Congress is saying, look, in just one constituency, we found over 1 lakh anomalies. Should there not be a response to that?
So, that's what Election Commission is asking. I am not talking on behalf of Election Commission, but on a political statement, he has said that I have found 1 lakh anomalies in the voter. Why can't he submit that data if he has found it? Why he can't submit it? He is giving political statements, doing press conference. But he is not
Executive
submitting the
public
data.
domain.
सुलेमान जी आपके साथ मैंने आपको नहीं बोला, आप बहुत बोल रहे थे.
जवाब दे रहा हूं.
दूसरी बात, this is important also is that earlier they were all talking about EVM hack हो गया, EVM hack हो गया. So many times in the Supreme Court, Election Commission has been continuing earlier asking them give proof. They came called all the parties. The issue is that we also understand that Rahul Gandhi's nature of doing things is just shoot and scoot, and he is doing with everything.
Okay.
Whether
I want
it is
to,
operation-
one second, I'll come back to
No,
both of
let
you.
Let me finish. The thing is, his credibility is so low. And now also, if he say, I have a proof, then why can't he give it?
Okay.
What is the
No,
problem?
that is a valid question. I think both sides are raising certain valid questions, but they're not willing to move. I mean, EC and Congress, but they're not willing to move from
Shivani,
beyond the charges
no,
to against each other
Rahul
to a
Gandhi is
legal
asking-
domain.
No, Rahul Gandhi is asking question to Election Commission. Okay, Election Commission will answer. But his allegation that Election Commission is doing this in connivance with the BJP, that is the issue. That's why we come into the picture.
No, fair enough. Fair enough. Of course, that charge has gone against you. You're also the party that is in power at the center. So, charge is that only. This is happening since 2014, I'm guessing. But Sunny Dhiman, I want to come to you. Wouldn't the credibility or the weightage of the arguments that Rahul Gandhi has presented or the evidence he claims he has presented lose a little bit of its sheen if he doesn't put his oath or affidavit? Because if he so believes in the errors that have been found in the voter list, let's say he's found 20,000 bogus voters or voters whose credentials are not matching properly as far as voter lists are concerned, why not put your name where your mouth is? Why not put your money where your mouth is and say, okay, I'm putting it in oath and I'm giving you this evidence, you take it forward now.
Fair enough. But let me tell you very aptly that the umpire, the Election Commission, is asking to take oath while ignoring the scoreboard. So the match is fixed, first of all. And second point is, no, there are points which you haven't discussed. Nobody has discussed. Simple is that election that Rahul Gandhi as leader of opposition and Congress party has demanded two things. One, the digital copy of the voter list, they declined. B, they asked for CCTV footage because after 5 p.m., how come there was a sudden surge? So they wanted to verify. That has been deleted. And the third point, which is the, third point, I just forgot the third point, but this is very important. If you can zoom in here. See. No, it's difficult. Anyway,
Can
the
you
camera
read out what
is
you
not
want to
capturing
say?
this. Yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
read out
so
very
you can
quickly
see
what
that-
you want to say?
Yeah,
Yes.
you can see this. Yes, you can see this. Duplicate is 11,000, fake is 40,000, bulk voting is 10,000, invalid voting 4,000, and form number 6 is being misused to create 33,000 votes.
Yes,
So
we
it is
got
not
that
Rahul
number.
Gandhi's duty.
We got that number from Rahul
the
Gandhi's
very
press
serious point
conference.
is, madam, the Independence Day of this country is coming, and I'm a true Indian. And the only right I have, whether I like BJP or Congress, but the only right I have is to vote. Because the economic equality has gone, social equality has gone, only I have is my voter right. And even that has gone. No, Election Commission is deliberately not giving the evidence. And they have given the 7 feet large...
All right,
data
on the
set
issue
in a
of
printed
evidence.
format,
Who will
which
vote
is
in
not,
the
madam,
BJP
just
or
one point.
Congress?
7 feet tall, printed, not digital, but the
How
printed
you
one.
know?
That cannot be even read by the OCR.
No, but Sunny,
Sunny,
one second. Gopalji, 1 second. Sunny, you're taking offense at that 7 feet long, whatever file that the Congress had to go through. Exactly what are the rules for this? And since when have those rules been the same? Are they the creation of post-2014?
Madam,
Did the
right
EC
now
not function under the same rules pre-2014?
Right now I'm in Kerala. I'm talking to you through my laptop.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are in 2025.
Huh.
We are not in Baba Adam ka zamana.
So can I just tell you that in 1 second, in 2018, no, this fake outrage, 1 second, this fake outrage is not enough. Please don't do this. This fake moral outrage is not enough. 1 second, Sunny. Now you listen to me.
Why I should not be outraged?
1 second. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. In 2018, Kamal Nath went to the Supreme Court asking for digitized voter lists. The Supreme Court said no doing. The Supreme
Okay,
Court
no
said
doing.
the EC is correct in the way that they are giving these voter lists.
Okay, can I tell you one point?
Yes.
Why can't Narendra Modi and Election Commission? No, Election Commission was selected by removing the Chief Justice of India. You remember?
Yeah, and before
If
that
they
it
are
was
so
selected
true,
by the government of the
they are
day. You
so
remember?
true. Madam, in 2018, whatsoever happened, it is 2025. अगर दाल में काला नहीं है तो एक बार डिजिटल कॉपी दिखा दे
तो आप मुझे बताइए, अगर दाल में इतना, वन सेकेंड, दाल में इतना ही काला था तो जब 2014 के रिजल्ट आए थे और भाजपा इतनी मेजॉरिटी से जीती थी, तब क्यों नहीं मांगी थी आपने ये लिस्ट? तब तो ये सारे ईसी कांग्रेस के बनाए हुए थे।
मैडम, एंटी इनकम्बेंसी नाम की कोई चीज होती है?
आप गोल पोस्ट मत शिफ्ट करिए, आप मुझे बताइए।
नहीं चेंज होगा।
अरे this point of digitized voter list, you took to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court gave its judgment on it. Now you're saying that the government should intervene in the EC matter and change it.
क्लियर है, इस आजादी के नाम देश
No, don't give me homilies. I'm sorry. Emotional argument मत कीजिए. Emotional argument मत कीजिए.
हमारा वोटिंग का राइट खत्म हो चुका है.
Please don't do emotional arguments. There is a serious data. There is a serious data-driven conversation taking place.
सामने है, 6 महीने लगे हैं.
There is a serious data-driven conversation taking place. There is a serious legal conversation taking place. Emotional arguments are great for public posturing. But this is precisely the point, Ayush, that I'm trying to make. Public posturing आप कितनी भी कर लो. There is no stopping to it. The battle is now stuck at that very crucial junction, whether anybody is willing to take this forward legally or not. Other than that, we're not going to get any answers.
It is very, very important for us to converse. It is very important for us to talk. And there is a certain place for where you put your points and how you put them. For example, our very dear friend Sunny here, who's having a board, I would, specifically mention him because he's having a board which I don't think is this is not the right place. A TV debate might not be the right place.
Let's move on.
Similarly, Rahul Gandhi going with such great, so many documents about so many different voter IDs. I am very, very clear on this issue. This is completely an administrative, a complete administrative answer. I agreed with our friend from the Congress. The Election Commission is supposed to respond. Rahul Gandhi is supposed to use the right route. I'm sure there are a lot of advocates in this room. So how do you essentially put a complaint against any issue that you are having in the government? You file a petition in the court. You make sure that you make people aware through the right legal processes. But what is happening? It is wrong. I am sorry. No, sir, I am sorry. Rahul Gandhi, I am all in for democracy. This is a temple of democracy. Elections are the worship of democracy. If there is something that is hindering that process, if Rahul Gandhi is trying to make an allegation that the BJP is getting electoral points because of this fake voter ID list, I want to know. I am a citizen of this country and I want to know. But in the same breath, I understand there is a certain process, there's a certain procedure, and just to create political havoc in the country, just to get our friends to put up banners in front of TV debates, Rahul Gandhi has achieved what he
One
would
second. I want our producers to run. Please lower everybody's fader. I want our producers to run the graphics that I was mentioning about the 2018 verdict. Let's run that first, because I want it to be very clear to our viewers. We are not running away from any relevant question that is being asked. If the Congress party feels that it should get readable voter lists, that issue has been settled by the Supreme Court 7 years ago, right? Their own leaders went to the court. Now, if you feel there is still inconsistencies in this, you should have petitioned the EC to say, let's re-look at this. The Congress of all parties cannot say systems today are bad when they sat on that systems for 60 plus years with barely any change. I also want to point out on the CCTV issue, which by the way pertains to Maharashtra and not Karnataka, this press conference by Rahul Gandhi was on the issue of Karnataka voter rolls. So let's not confuse the two. In Karnataka, because of the CCTV issue, the EC is very categorical on record to say they will not release booth footage because that violates the privacy of electors. The elector Sunny Dhaman is raising so many concerns. Would he be okay if his footage voting is released? This EC has said political parties can misuse this footage to identify and pressurize voters. Selective, out-of-context use of footage can be done on social media. CCTV and webcasting are solely for internal monitoring. And they have also gone on to say they are preserved for 45 days, which is the limit of filing election petitions, and they will be given via court if there is any court case. So you file a case. If the court says, let's look into the footage, the EC says we will be willing to preserve that footage and give it to you. Now, what else do you think is important? 6 months after an election, 1 year after an election, if you claim, oh, there were bogus voters, should the entire process be changed but just because of one party?
Shivani.
So let Suleiman respond.
Let us reply to this. Now, these are all diversionary things which you are saying or the election commission is saying. The core question is, after this press conference, the onus is on election commission. Why so much of divergent views are coming, or so much of fake voters which we have shown in the press conference yesterday? What Ayush was saying, I completely agree. Whatever
you don't think slight bit of onus is also on Rahul Gandhi to say, okay, I'm giving this under my signed oath?
Yes, I agree with you as well. Rahul Gandhi has, in a public domain, given a statement, and after that also to a question to a journalist during that press conference, that why don't you give a affidavit on oath about this, what you are saying. He said, I am a political leader. Whatever I am saying on oath. He has already said this in
You are a lawyer, Suleiman Mohammed Khan. You know it doesn't work like this.
No, it works like this.
It works like this. Okay. Okay, all right, it works like this. Congress's stand is very clear. It works like this. Yes, very quickly, 10 seconds, sir.
Rahul Gandhi is again and again saying what I am saying. So no, election commission has to come in and explain.
Okay,
and
all right.
Why the change of rule to give the CCTV footage from 1 year to 45?
This is not a change.
Nothing.
It is the rule.
There is a change of rule. Yes, 1 year. Previously, it was till 1 year you can take.
Yes.
Now it has been 45 days. You can now take that.
So you should have objected at that time.
No, that too is not being given.
It can be given via a court petition. There is an election petition that is filed. And in that context, when that case goes on, and there are such cases going on, there are Congress candidates cases going on, left candidates cases going on. The left candidate from Thrissur has pointed it. It has to happen via a legal procedure. In fact, the EC, one second, the EC has even said, you please come to us. You give us a letter in writing with your signature that this is your problem. It hasn't happened. I have a minute left. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, minute left.
Petition will go for 5 years. That's what I'm saying.
We have to understand one thing is that what BJP stand on this whole issue is. I am very clear that we are saying whatever Rahul Gandhi has any objection or question to the election commission, he can go and talk. They are giving him opportunity. It is between them and election commission. And what we are saying is Congress and Rahul Gandhi should follow the rule of the law. They should, due process of law has been established in the constitution. They should follow one thing. Second is that whatever anomalies they are finding or they are pointing out, if there are any anomalies, if their contention that this is being done on the behalf of BJP, that linking is itself is bizarre, and there is no proof of that. Where the only point is that number of voters have increased and BJP has won. So today, Mr. Bhupendra Yadav has shown several places where number of new voters have increased, where opposition have also won. So this linking of increase of voter and BJP candidate winning is wrong. And
that in itself is a strenuous link, to be honest. That link cannot be made. Your own expectations of a result not matching the actual result cannot be. But Rahul Gandhi has made very serious allegations. He's gone on to say, oh, BJP doesn't have anti-incumbency. For 60 years, Congress won almost unopposed in most elections across the country. Was that because of election rigging? Or was it because there was no anti-incumbency against the Congress party at that time? So, these questions are political questions. They are strenuous links. If you're wanting to establish fraud in voter lists, questions are serious, and the seriousness with these questions deserve is that you put your political weight behind these questions legally as well. And on that, I think everybody will be with Rahul Gandhi. Because if there are serious anomalies, they need to be sorted out, and the EC needs to be made responsible for it. Absolutely. I do thank our guests for joining us. Moving on, a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi declared his intent, claiming that India will not bow down before anyone, let alone succumb to the pressure tactics by the US, Donald Trump, the US president, seems angry. He has now dismissed the possibility of any trade negotiations with India to continue till he says the issues are resolved. He was asked this in context of the tariff war currently going on. This is indeed shaping up geopolitical dynamics, and a prime example of it would be the global order backing that is growing for India, including support by China, Russia and Brazil, its BRICS compatriots. While India stands firm on its stance, both India and US will have to bear the brunt of Trump's tariff tyranny. This is what an SBI report titled Tariff Diplomacy Negotiation, Keeping Pride Intact is the Way Forward argues. That imposition of a 25% tariff rising to 50% on Indian exports would be a bad policy decision for the US with far-reaching implications. SBI research estimates that a 50% tariff on Indian pharmaceutical exports could cut earnings of pharma companies by 5 to 10% in financial year 26. Nearly 40% of India's pharma exports go to US, and major companies derive half of their revenue from this market. India supplies about 35% of the US's generic drug demand, used in 90% of prescriptions, but accounting for just 26% of the drug spending. The report warns that American consumers and US healthcare system stands to lose significantly if tariffs are levied. SBI research cautioned that shifting pharmaceutical manufacturing from India to other countries or back to the US would take at least 3 to 5 years to yield meaningful capacity and could drive up the price of essential medicines. If India halts Russian oil imports entirely, this report says, fuel import bill could rise by $9.1 billion in FY26 and $11.7 billion in FY27. However, the report points out that India has already diversified its sources to 40 countries and could revert to traditional suppliers in the Middle East and Africa under flexible annual contracts. It seems like the India-US states trade deal is now dented, and that's the big story that's emerging from the US last evening, as there's so far been little to no progress on the sticking points, some of them being reduced tariff on US agricultural imports, market access to US for dairy items, duty-free access for Indian textiles, tariff concession on Indian leather goods, and tariff cuts for high employment sectors. With Trump's unrelenting tirade against India, is it safe to assume that the India-US trade deal is now dented? Could it actually be off the table given the posturing that the US has taken? Our experts are joining us in just a bit.
Expect increased trade negotiations, since you've announced the 50% tariff?
No, not until we get it resolved.
You very rightly mentioned, Excellency, that we have got a very special relationship, a long relationship, and we highly value our strategic partnership.
Trump has abandoned all the ideals of free trade. He thinks that this will benefit the US more. If you think about it, it is because the US no longer feels the same self-confidence which it had in the past.
Like anything in foreign policy, you're not going to align 100% of the time on everything. But it is very clear, the president's been clear, the concerns that he has with the trade imbalance, the concerns he has with India purchasing Russian oil. He's been clear on that. He's taken action, and I refer you to his comments for further on that.
Let's go across to our guest joining us. Dilip Chenoy is Chairman, Bharat Web3 Association and former Secretary General of FICCI. Saket Mishra, investment banker, also with us. Dilip Chenoy, I do begin with you. Do you think with the latest statement that Donald Trump has made, the deal could be effectively off?
Actually, I think the efforts to get the deal going and the background efforts to get the deal concluded are still on. I don't think it is to be off, but there are certain sticking points there, and Trump has actually said that from his perspective it is off, but I believe that the negotiations can still continue and there could be discussions going forward. Nothing is off, till there. And since India is also responding with different kinds of actions, possibly that will also bring the two back to the table to discuss the different issues.
What he seems to suggest is that these tariffs, which have been justified because India buys Russian oil, unless that is resolved, unless this tariff issue and the justifications for it are resolved, till then no more negotiations will take place. Are we to take from this that India will have to concede something on the Russian oil buying front to the Americans? Dilip Chenoy, first to you, and then I'll take this to Saket Mishra.
I think already you're seeing different statements by the ministers and everyone that we are diversifying our oil basket. In the run-up to the program, Shivani, you mentioned the SPI report, which talks about a $9 billion hit possibly. But the differential between the two prices, I think, is reducing. So it may not be that much of a hit. But two things have happened in the time since it addressed. I think there is possibility of greater discussions between the US and Putin and some resolution on that front. If that happens, then of course it could actually address that. So it's a broader strategy. It's not necessarily only directed towards the India-US relationship. I think it's a broader strategy, also targeting other countries and pushing them to the table.
Saket Mishra, what do you think? We've been discussing diplomatically if India-US ties have taken a plunge for many decades to come. It took many decades for us to get to the place that we were till last year. And now suddenly it seems it's going to be decades away to get back that bonhomie and that level of trust. On the trade front, do you think this is also a setback of a similar kind?
I mean, look, it's a setback for sure. But I think there are a couple of points that we need to be very cognizant of. One, we were pretty much 90 to 95% there with the deal. So it's not like we need to negotiate finer points anymore. So I think that part is pretty clear cut. India's red lines are pretty clear cut. We will not be compromising on the small farmers' rights and the dairy rights and things like GM crops. So I think it's a question of, as far as Russian oil is concerned, that's more than just the issue of Russian oil. It's a question of, are we going to have the strategic independence to be able to buy where we want to buy from? It's a good luck chance for us that Russian oil at the moment is not necessarily as beneficial to us. So therefore the value is coming down. But eventually it's about India's strategic sovereignty, and I don't think we can compromise on that at all. As far as the relationship is concerned, look, I think our relationship is too strategic, too many layers to it for it to necessarily get damaged by one set of, shall we say, impetuous actions. It has been a setback. I think it would have been a great time for India and the US to actually mold the manner in which international trade is going. That obviously is going to take a back seat, but India has responded extremely in a measured way. There is no tit for tat tariff. There will be a discussion on what kind of trade we do with them, which is our right. But I think we have stuck to our guns and we've stuck to the process.
Given the situation what it is, Saket Mishra, there are some red lines as far as the trade deal is concerned. As you said, 95% of it has been thrashed out. Most of it has been seen by both sides. But it seems Donald Trump wants more as far as the agricultural sector is concerned. Right? But if that is a red line for us, we cannot really give in on that. We don't want to send a signal that, okay, since you have a problem, we will not buy Russian oil. We will not buy Russian oil if it doesn't suit us, but we will not do it under US pressure. So if those are anyways the red lines, then where do we go from here? Because Donald Trump clearly wants more.
So I guess there are two parts to it. One is obviously there is a degree of let's say, dissatisfaction with him not being given supposed credit for calls that he made or didn't make or whatever it is. Clearly, he didn't make them, right? I think it's a personal issue. But as far as the trade is concerned, it's also about a process, right? So where we are with our farmers today versus where we are going to be with our farmers in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, depending on how scientific research happens, how the cooperative movement takes off. I think it's a process, and we can always agree to milestones based on which we can both move forward. So, there's nothing drawn in sand. Tomorrow, it's quite possible that India is going to be exporting into the US, and they would have similar problems because our productivity of our small farms is not necessarily poor. It's just that they are capital short.
On the trade deal itself, Dilip Chenoy, do you think there is any wriggle room for India? Some may suggest that the deal per se overall is more important if we have to give in at a few places. What could those places be, and do you think India will do that at all?
Well, I think, if you look at some of the sensitive areas, especially agriculture, GM foods, non-vegetarian fed milk, etc., those which in the agriculture sector, which are very emotive and other issues, I think those will be segregated out, and that's actually a no-go. On the other aspects, if you're looking at some of the market access or some of the manufacturing sectors where, it is possible, and, once the first news broke about the trade deal being stalled, I think there was a missive to all the ministries to see what we could do, from a sector-wise to actually address that issue. So once those results come out, and there could be some give and take when we go there, and the negotiations could begin. So, that is very important. And there are some areas, of course, there's a red line, including purchasing sovereignty, etc. But, I think the negotiators and the government, both sides will be trying to find more areas of agreement and whittle down the kind of disagreements. And possibly we could actually divide it into an early harvest kind of a thing, and the next stages going forward.
Yeah.
But it requires, it will require a lot of effort on both sides.
I just want to discuss a little bit more about the Indian economy, how it's bracing up for it, and what it could do in the meantime, since trade negotiations are delayed and we don't really know what happens to them. But first up, let me just point out, we're breaking on your screens that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has spoken with President Putin. This is a day after NSA Ajit Doval was already there in Moscow and had announced that President Putin would be coming to India later this year. President Putin has briefed the Prime Minister on latest developments concerning Ukraine. They are important for India because what happens as far as a ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine is concerned is going to be very important as far as Russia's allies are concerned, those secondary tariffs that US has talked about. PM has reiterated India's consistent position for peaceful resolution. The leaders have affirmed commitment to further deepen India-Russia special and privileged strategic partnership. Prime Minister has invited President Putin to visit India later this year for the annual bilateral summit. Saket Mishra, do you think this kind of pressure points also work as far as these ongoing standoff is concerned? What Brazil and India are saying, what Brazil and Russia are saying, what even China is saying on India's strategic autonomy. Do you think all of this is working to send a signal to the US?
Well, I think it certainly sends a signal, but the challenge that I see is more around, is the reaction from the US going to be logical, or is it going to be personalized? And if it's going to be personalized, then we are unlikely to see much response because it wasn't logical in the first place. Now, the fact is that if Brazil and India are talking, and if Russia and India are talking, and we've had long-term relationships with both, it also shows a commonality. And what it does show is that there is scope for diversification of India's trade, both on the export as well as the supply of energy resources concerned away from the US. So eventually, India wants a win-win situation, and hopefully the US will see the benefits of that rather than almost trying to isolate themselves.
Right. So tell me, Dilip Chinoy, is the industry preparing? Is it prepared for any eventuality? The eventuality of 50% tariffs right now affecting about 2% of all Indian exports. What else can be done by the industry itself? And what do you think the government should do in the interim?
So, Shivani, if you've seen in the past few days, you've seen the different sectoral associations reach out to the government on specific measures, whether it's textiles, gems and jewelry, or the auto component people, on what specific measures the government could take to support them and, enable them to access the US markets. But from an industry point of view, there is also has to be an internal strategy to actually, make the Indian products, if I take the auto component industry, make it strategically so important for the US OEs and the others that they can't do without India. It's somewhat, if we say, just like the rare earths thing, rare earths thing with China. If Indian companies become so critical to the economy, then, there'll be a different thing going. And I think the journey is on. Over the last 5 to 7 to 10 years, a lot of the manufacturing and auto component industry has been there. Similarly, if you're looking at the criticality of electronics exports, and over the last 1 year, the electronics exports have been the major driver of growth. But the criticality to the US economy is such that the president is actually, and the administration is considering giving an exemption, provided they do similar investments in the US. So there are different strategies that the sectors and Indian industry and even the US firms that are invested in India could adopt to increase it. But diversification of exports, enhancing competitiveness, working with their partners in the US to actually even softly start working in the background to enable a different deal and get the Indian perspective actually understood there will greatly enhance our efforts.
Saket, final word to you as well. How confident are you about India's economic resilience in the face of this? Plus, what are the cues that you're getting from global markets, for example?
Look, I think the Indian economy is, well prepared to handle something like this. I don't think we're at risk. I actually do think there is a degree of opportunity in this, and there I see two parts. One is if we can increase the productivity and reduce the sort of inefficiencies in the system, and perhaps some of that is due to government processes and bureaucracy, to make it easier for our industries to produce, I think that's a big jump up. Second is there has been an element of complacency in terms of what we export. The easy answer is to export low value goods. If we can use this period to what Mr. Chinoy was talking about, if we can actually start looking at higher value added products, even in software, for instance, if we can get integrated into the new AI ML universe that's emerging, it just makes it easier from us. And we become much more important, not just to the US, but to the rest of the world also, which makes the diversion diversification agenda much easier to process.
Right. All right. I'll leave it at that. Chinoy and Mr. Mishra, thanks a lot for joining us. I do appreciate you sparing your time. Moving on, we bring you the latest as far as the devastation and resilience unfolding in the hills of Uttarakhand is concerned. In the early hours of August 7, 2025, a sudden cloudburst triggered catastrophic flash floods and landslides across multiple districts of the state, leaving behind a trail of destruction. New satellite images from ISRO have revealed the extensive damage in Uttarkashi. The images captured on August 7 show a massive 20-hectare mud and debris deposit at Dharali village, which was the epicenter. Pre- and post-flood comparisons show widened river channels and several damaged or submerged buildings. As rescue teams battle the elements to reach those stranded, people of Uttarakhand are once again facing nature's fury with courage. Rescue efforts have been ramped up now. So far, 400 people have been rescued. IF aircraft, including Chinooks and Mi-17s, have been deployed to aid operations. Authorities urge residents to stay indoors, though, as heavy rainfall is expected over the next 24 hours as well.
Joining me right now is Captain Vivek. Sir, thank you so much for your time. You have been doing a very great work, sir. How many people have been rescued by you at this point, and how many sorties have been made, sir?
Total, we have been operating since last 3 days now. Today is the third day, and we have total of 7 helicopters operating from different companies. I think each helicopter has done around 30 sorties till now, and each helicopter is, in each sortie we are bringing at least 5 people back. and while going we are taking ration and everything for them. So I believe total till now should be around 450-500 people we have evacuated till now. Yeah.
That's a big number, sir. What are the challenges? What are the conditions over there, sir? Is it safe for helicopters to reach over there?
Day before day before yesterday, it was bad. Weather was really bad. We landed at 10 o'clock, and then we had to wait there till 12:30 for the weather to clear up. It is challenging because of the winds, and the valley is very narrow. Because of that, clouds are continuously moving in and out of that. On top of that, we have 7 helicopters operating in a very narrow valley. That is a challenging thing.
How has the weather been, sir? Is the weather supporting you over there? Because that is a very big cause of concern at this point.
Since yesterday, it has been holding since morning. Day before yesterday, it was bad, but by God's grace, it's all good as of now.
Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami has held meetings with officials at Disaster Control Room and reviewed rescue and relief operations in the disaster-affected areas. Instructions have been issued to officials to exercise extra sensitivity, especially with women, children and the elderly. With the rescue operations continuing, India prays for the safety and the lives of those affected. Take a look at some more responses coming in from on ground.
कल हमने लगभग 400 लोग इवैक्यूएट कर रहे हैं यहाँ से गंगोत्री, झाला, हर्षिल, धराली और आज लगभग 300 लोग हैं जो इवैक्यूएशन अभी हम प्रोसेस शुरू कर दिया है 7 बजे से तो लगभग 75+ हम लोग अभी इवैक्यूएट कर चुके हैं। जो भी नेसेसरी यहाँ पे रिक्वायरमेंट है सामान की वो सामान आना कल से आना शुरू हो गया है मिलना और हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूट आज करा रहे हैं धराली में और जहाँ भी अफेक्टेड है हर्षिल में भी कराएंगे। कम्युनिटी किचन इस्टेब्लिश कर दिया है हर्षिल में, यहाँ भी आज स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं। मेडिकल कैंप चला दिए हैं दोनों जगह, यहाँ पे मेरी स्टेट की टीम भी है और हमारी लोकल का टीम भी है, आर्मी का टीम भी मेडिकल कैंप लगा चुकी है।
Thanks a lot for watching Plain Speak. Time for a very short break, but on the other side, the right stand is coming up. Stay tuned to CNN News 18.
Brought to you by This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met Russia's Security Council Secretary in Moscow to boost their special and privileged strategic partnership. Discussions centered on deepening bilateral ties, security cooperation and preparations for President Putin's upcoming visit to India. Doval also met President Putin at the Kremlin. Despite global tensions, including US tariffs on India over Russian oil imports, both nations are committed to advancing their time-tested relationship.
You have very rightly mentioned, Excellency, that we have got a very special relationship, a long relationship, and we highly value our strategic partnership. We have had high-level engagements, and these relationships, these high-level engagements have contributed very substantially. We are very excited and delighted to learn about the visit of His Excellency the President of Russia, President Putin, to India. I think that the dates are almost finalized now. The more important thing is this, that is, these summit meetings have always been the watershed points.
So reiteration coming in there, Akansha, from India and Russia. We've seen statements from Brazil. We've also seen statements from China. What more can be expected in days to come?
Absolutely. In fact, the NSA has put this into perspective for us that, in such an unpredictable economic environment, some things happen as watershed moments. And perhaps what India and the global south are looking at is a watershed moment, especially when it comes to our economic history. Remember, India was anticipating this. This is extremely ironical because if one were to compare this with Donald Trump's previous administration, it was Donald Trump Trump, who increased the bilateral trade with New Delhi. But we've seen that slump because perhaps he no longer sees India as a counterbalance to China. He rather sees India as a threat as massive as China. But remember, India has already started diversifying in July. As latest as July, Shivani, the Niti Aayog has proposed that they will ease Chinese FDI, which means that there will be investment coming into India, and they've marked it very smartly at 24%, which means that if Chinese investment comes into Indian firms, it will remain at 24%. That also abstains these the Chinese investment from gaining majority control of Indian firms, yet will ensure that the money comes in from Beijing into New Delhi. Having said that, there are also lessons that New Delhi can learn at the moment. In April, in fact, to be precise, on 4th of April, MOFCOM and China's customs had imposed controls on its export of rare earth minerals. That's which brought Washington down to its knees, and that's when they came to Stockholm. The negotiations happened. As a result, China has a reprieve of 90 days. What's equally interesting is that what's happening globally as far as these tariffs are concerned is also indicating the policy paralysis within the WTO dispute system. So WTO is the body where you can go for trade disputes and these settlements can happen, and that's not currently really happening. WTO is unable to play its roles. So now that leaves all of these countries and groupings like the BRICS primarily. SCO, as we all know, is a grouping meant more for security concerns, but you can expect that when Prime Minister Modi will be in China, there will be talks, there will be a realignment and joining of hands. In fact, we are already seeing the rhetoric come from China's global state mouthpiece, that is Global Times, which is saying that Western media is in fact attacking India and China, building unhealthy competition which really doesn't exist. Both the economies can aid each other in ensuring that Asia thrives, the world thrives by trading with Beijing and New Delhi.
Thank you, Akansha, for joining us. We'll, of course, keep a very close watch on all of these developments.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met Russia's Security Council Secretary in Moscow to boost their special and privileged strategic partnership. Discussions centered on deepening bilateral ties, security cooperation and preparations for President Putin's upcoming visit to India. Doval also met President Putin at the Kremlin. Despite global tensions, including US tariffs on India over Russian oil imports, both nations are committed to advancing their time-tested relationship.
You have very rightly mentioned, Excellency, that we have got a very special relationship, a long relationship, and we highly value our strategic partnership. We have had high-level engagements, and these high-level engagements have contributed very substantially. We are very excited and delighted to learn about the visit of His Excellency the President of Russia, President Putin, to India. I think that the dates are almost finalized now. The more important thing is this, that is, these summit meetings have always been the watershed points.
So reiteration coming in there, Akansha, from India and Russia. We've seen statements from Brazil. We've also seen statements from China. What more can be expected in days to come?
Absolutely. In fact, the NSA has put this into perspective for us that, in such an unpredictable economic environment, some things happen as watershed moments. And perhaps what India and the global south are looking at is a watershed moment, especially when it comes to our economic history. Remember, India was anticipating this. This is extremely ironical because if one were to compare this with Donald Trump's previous administration,
CNN News 18 Primetime Studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions.
Namaste, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat, and welcome to this edition of The Right Stand. And we are coming to you live from the CNN News 18 primetime studio, presented by Schneider Electric Smart Home Solutions. And viewers, on this edition of The Right Stand, the focus is on Bharat. You bully Bharat, you may lose billions. There is a message coming in from the global south that looks to India for leadership. And there is also an important message that's now come forth from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The strategic restraint evident, but the hints also very, very clear. You bully us, you tell us that you will decide who our friends will be. That's not going to work. Bharat will not let go of its time-tested friends. All that and more in this edition.
Expect increased trade negotiations, since you've announced the 50% tariff?
No, not until we get it resolved.
You very rightly mentioned, Excellency, that we have got a very special relationship, a long relationship, and we highly value our strategic partnership.